Okay, this one I definitely need my notes for. Hi guys, it's Emily, the Minimalist Mama, and here on my channel we like to talk about pursuing minimalism with grace. Today I'm going to share with you how to up-level your decluttering and organizing. With these 5 skills, you'll be a master organizer. Have you ever wondered why some people's homes are really organized and decluttered and other people's aren't? I mean, it seems like a basic question, but for a while I thought people were either born with the messy gene or the organized gene, and it was just a personality difference that you either had or you didn't have. I figured that I was not born with it, so there really wasn't much I could do. But the more I read blogs and books about organizing and decluttering, the more I realized that it's actually a set of skills, and while some people may be more predisposed to being organized, it is something that can be learned and practiced and improved on with practice. In my courses, we work on skills like these. I'll have a link in the description down below to the courses that I'm offering right now. These 5 skills are really foundational to learn how to organize and declutter and maintain your space for the long haul. So let's dive in. Number 1 is how to ask the right questions. Questions like, do you need this? Or when's the last time you used this? Are not actually very helpful, in my opinion. When we're asked if we need something, often our response is, I don't know. That's probably why we still have it in the first place. If we knew for sure we didn't need it, we probably wouldn't still have it, right? What if we need it someday? That's the real kicker. Plus, I find that we smart creative types can almost always think of a use for something. Whether or not we need it right now or anytime in the realistic future and our idealized future, we could need it sometime. Even if we haven't used something recently, doesn't necessarily mean we never will. And what do we determine the expiration date is? If we haven't used something in 6 months or a year or 2 years, there's a lot of gray area there. On the other hand, when we ask, does this spark joy? We have to answer with a clear yes or no. So I really do like that question from Marie Kondo because it really cuts to the heart of the matter. Then it doesn't matter if you just bought an item or if you've had it in your closet for 10 years. If it does spark joy, you keep it. If it doesn't, you can let it go. But not everybody can relate to the idea of sparking joy or be able to even recognize what sparks joy for them. In that case, I also like to ask, does this serve you, or is this serving you now? Has it served its purpose for you already? Its purpose might be to teach you what not to buy. And in that case, it served its purpose, so you can let it go. Another question I like to ask is, does this item belong with you in the future life you want to live? Maybe all of those blazers from your office job really don't belong with you in the future life you want to live as a freelance creative, and you can let all of those things go. So number 2 is overcoming the fear of what if. What if I need this later? What if I unexpectedly get pregnant and I need all these maternity clothes and baby stuff? What if my husband loses his job? There's a lot of different fears that we can have, usually rooted in something that's happened to us in the past. And overcoming these fears is a challenge, especially if at some point you really had a fear of not being provided for. It's a really deep-rooted fear of scarcity. But there is a cost to allowing fear to dictate your choices. If you struggle with clutter, you already know this. Allowing your fears to dictate your choices costs you clarity and peace and joy. 9 out of 10 times, I would say, the risk of that what if when you get rid of something is so much less than what that item is costing you now by taking up your space. If the thing you fear happens, do you believe that you will be provided for? That you'll be able to provide for yourself, or that God will provide for you? Do you really believe that? Because if you do, then that can free you from that fear of scarcity and having to deal with the what if questions. A lot of times our brains focus on that one negative experience, that time that we accidentally or maybe on purpose got rid of something that then we really wished we hadn't, and that like solidifies in our brain, and we forget the 1,000 other things that we also got rid of that we haven't missed at all. Okay, number 3, this skill is how to make decisions. Clutter is nothing more than just a postponed decision. It's when you bring in the mail and you don't want to make decisions about what to do with it, so you let it pile up. You bring something home and you try it on and you're not sure whether or not you should keep it, so it just goes in the back of the closet. Clutter is just postponed decisions, so making decisions is really at the heart of this whole process. So the key is to avoid decision-making fatigue. Every decision you make is draining your energy, and you only have so much. So the best way I found to avoid decision-making fatigue is to have a simple rubric of questions you ask. Have very simple answers and then very simple actions to take as a result. Planning the best time of day to declutter, whether that's in the morning or during nap time or after you've had a nap. An easy plan for dinner, or clearing your schedule so that there are as few other decisions and drains on your decision-making power as possible. When you're stuck on a decision, you have basically 3 options. You can set it aside and move on to a new category and come back to it later. I find that's the best rather than continuing to spin your wheels. You can put it in the donate pile for now and then see if you miss it before you go donate it. And then if you do, you can take it back out, but probably you won't. You can also pack it into a box and put a date on it for when to revisit that item. If it's something sentimental, maybe you really aren't going to be able to get back to it in the near future, that could be a great way of doing it. Number 4, take responsibility for yourself. Sounds very simple, it's very hard. There's so much that's actually in your control, probably more than you realize. Once you decide to stop blaming others, even though they may be partially responsible, but when you stop blaming others, you can commit to leading by example, and then that brings the power back to you and also responsibility. Once you take responsibility as the gatekeeper of your home, you're no longer the victim of your children's toys, because you are in charge of what gets to stay and what goes. Once you take responsibility for your emotional spending, then you have control over finding other healthy ways to cope and regulate your emotions. If you continue to blame your hoarding genes, or lack of time, or lack of space, or messy spouse, if you continue to blame outside factors for your home and the clutter, then you're just not going to make any progress. The energy that you're spending on rationalizing why things are the way they are and blaming other things and other circumstances could actually be spent on doing the work and finding solutions. You'll either find an excuse or you'll find a way. Number 5, how to create a new vision for your life and your home. Why are you decluttering in the first place? Decluttering takes a lot out of you, your time, your energy. It's a lot of work. The process is simple, but it's definitely not easy. But why is it that you really want to go through all of this? I have a whole video about the first place to start when you're decluttering, and that is in finding your why. So I highly recommend you watch that. And once you know your why, you can come back to it. Having a deep, compelling why to keep you going is really important. Having that vision of the life you want to be living, the home that you want to have, the way you want it to feel, is going to keep you going and help you make decisions much more easily. What benefits are you going to have from having a decluttered home? How's it going to affect your family? How's it going to affect how you spend your time and your days? How's it going to change the way you see yourself? Once you know your why and you have a clear vision of what you want, you're not going to be tempted to bring in clutter and mess that up. So maintaining it is going to be a lot easier. If you want a concrete, practical place to begin, then check out my course in the description down below on cleaning out your closet. It's a 4-part course and it really dives into defining your personal style, finding your why, working through some mindset shifts and changes and even your habits, and also goes through and majorly declutters your wardrobe. So I think it's a really great place to begin and touches on so many important aspects of the whole decluttering and organizing process. So the link to that is in the description down below, and I really hope you will check it out and join me in there. I would love to know if any of these 5 areas are things that you struggle with, or if you feel like you're really mastering these and have become a master level organizer. Leave me a comment down below, and if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you'll get more videos just like this. We'll see you next week.